Welcome all sports fans, YouTubers, Facebookers, all social media across the nation. Uneducated Network on YouTube presents Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Clayton, and let's get down to it. Before we get into our gritty of the NBA and much more, please, if you haven't, like and subscribe to Uneducated Network so you can see my show, Uneducated Sports Talk, and many other shows on our channel. We are more than just a YouTube channel. We are a way of life. With that being said, you guys, welcome to Uneducated Sports Talk. Let's get into it. Welcome to the 1990s NBA that we got going on right now. So many rivalries, if you want to call it that. So much fighting going on, so much grittiness. Look, it's getting to the point where I think people are actually starting to care about winning now. Yes, it's funny because we got like these major brawls all within like a 3-day period. So we haven't had anything like that in a while. Usually you get that one good fight every 2-3 weeks. But now we had a back-to-back like big incidents go down, and you start to get the feeling that you like that chippiness of the NBA. So many times these guys, after they're done, they hug it out, they kiss, they make up, they go out to eat, have dinner, they're chilling, laughing, making their money, right? Well, back in the 90s, you did all that in the off season. You didn't do that during the regular season. There was no loving, no hugging, no high-fiving, none of that. Guys wanted to beat each other up. And then in the off season, we can go ahead and chill. Well, this time, and this NBA now, it's not like that, but the last couple of days, we got a little chippiness going on. Basically 3 separate incidents. So let's talk about the big one that everyone's been talking about, H-Town in the house. Before we get started, please give a big shout out to my man Big Caesar from H-Town, and of course, my man Jose as well from H-Town. What up, man? It's my 56ers guys, so big shout out to you guys, man. It's all good. Big Caesar and Jose, because they from H-Town, so we get ready to talk about the Houston Rockets right now. Houston. They go into Los Angeles. It's Chris Paul's debut facing his old team, so you knew there would be some rivalry going on, some bad blood. We all know in the offseason that Chris Paul and Doc Rivers kind of didn't see eye to eye, and the whole Austin Rivers coming in and Doc, getting his son when they could have got a better backup point guard. All that going on, and we didn't know none of that till towards the end of Chris Paul's tenure at LA. So when he goes to Houston, they go to LA to face the Clippers against Blake Griffin, and Austin Rivers is on a bench in the suit and tie. James Harden as well with the suit and tie not playing. The game is physical from the jump. Trevor Ariza against Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin is, look, they don't give Blake Griffin credit. They always call him a fake tough guy. He's not trying to be tough. I've never seen an incident where Blake Griffin has actually tried to be tough. It's the NBA of now. No one is tough. Let's be honest. There's nobody tough unless you want to talk about a David West kind of guy. But he was back in the 2000s, the early 2000s. So those guys who still exist, they're tough guys. Guys like Blake Griffin and the rest of these guys, none of these guys are tough. No one's playing to be tough. So I'm tired of hearing that like he's a fake tough guy. He's not even trying to be tough. It's just the way the NBA is. People are totally soft these days, and I don't get it. Him and Trevor Ariza got into it a few times. Also, Blake Griffin and Chris Paul got into it. And you got Patrick Beverly on the sidelines talking trash. You got Austin Rivers talking trash. And everything's getting heated. All along, let's not forget, the Clippers won the game 113-102. So all this going on, the Clippers still did what they had to do and win the game. And the Rockets, they're on a slide. We know that James Harden was out 7 games, and they've been on some sort of slide. And James Harden does come back in a couple days. I believe tomorrow, I believe Thursday. But the fact is, we knew there was bad blood, and now we for damn sure know there was huge bad blood between these two teams, between these players, matter of fact. And then Mike D'Antoni got into it with Blake Griffin, giving off F-bombs, F-bombs, and of course Blake Griffin's going to respond back. He gave off F-bombs, and now everyone's F-bombing it up. So they get into it. So that's not even the crazy part. When the game is over, Blake Griffin, Trevor Ariza, they both get ejected from the game. Basically, rightfully so. And Blake Griffin hyped the crowd up and threw his shirt in stands. It was a cool moment, to be honest with you. He goes out. Here's where all the drama started. The Clippers are in the room. They're in their locker room. They're celebrating, having a good old time. Yay, we beat the Rockets. And then here comes Chris Paul, Trevor Ariza, Gerald Green, and James Harden. Why is James Harden in the mix? Ain't he in the suit and tie with a bad hamstring? Yeah. That's what I call fake tough guys right there. They go in there and they want to bombard the Los Angeles Clippers locker room. There was rumor that Chris Paul knew a secret way to get into the locker room. I just think it was open, to be honest with you. We had Clint Capella at one time knocking on the door, and a lady opens the door and sees him and closes it right back. It was crazy with all these rumors and what was going on. But There's a time where the Rockets were trying to get in, and the Clippers players were like, "Come on, bring it. What's up? What's popping? What's popping?" that's my tough guy talk. What's popping? And security wasn't having none of it. But it's interesting because the day came out today, the rumors, and you realize Trevor Ariza and Gerald Green were the ones getting suspended for 2 games with no pay. And I wonder what happened because I kept hearing Chris Paul was the ringleader, but obviously not if they had a trial or a conduct, a conspiracy. They had to look into it to see what was going on. And I guess they came to the conclusion that Gerald Green and Trevor Ariza were the ones that were basically the leaders of that little incident. And Chris Paul was kind of in the back with James Harden. Because I knew Chris Paul was like, yeah, he's a little tiny pit bull. But when you're going against Blake Griffin, those guys are just bigger than you, man. Stop that. And James Harden didn't, for his role as well in the incident, he didn't get suspended. But Trevor Ariza and Gerald Green, the 2 guys, they're both suspended for 2 games. And I thought it was kind of weird because all this is because of Chris Paul. I'm like, look, you had your chance to make your money in LA. You didn't want to be there. That's fine. You went somewhere else. But don't do any kind of damage to your team that can hurt you in any way. It got Trevor Ariza and it got Gerald Green suspended. And those games, people don't look at the hindsight of the NBA. A 2 or 3 game losing streak at the end could hurt you towards the end. It can hurt you big time. So I don't know why people want to do those kind of things and get themselves in that kind of trouble, because you lose those 2 games that those guys are out, that can hurt you towards the end, trying to be a 3rd or a 2nd seed, because you're not getting the 1st seed. But that can kind of hurt you. You don't want to slide in that 4th seed anytime soon. I promise you that. So there's a lot of good teams in the West coming out. Timberwolves looking better now. OK City is we'll talk about that later on. But we'll see what's going on with this team. But I think it was foolish for them to even go in that locker room and try and do what? You knew that security was going to be there and back you out. You just want to talk words. We want to talk to Blake and Austin, y'all. We want to talk to Blake and Austin. That's not about to happen, man. Stop that, man. So, the Clippers won, so they had it all good. They stayed in the locker rooms. They're like, we ain't doing anything. We won the game. We're excited. They came on board. Houston, get your stuff together, man. Get it together, because you guys are a team that's supposed to be on the rise and doing big things. It's supposed to be your year, because the Warriors started off slow. You start off so hot, and now all of a sudden it's coming back even again. So the Rockets better get their stuff together, man. So also, a couple more incidents we had. Kyle Lowry versus Ben Simmons. That was something. That was real physical going on. Those guys got into it, and they both got ejected. Ben Simmons basically pointed out, hey, meet me in the locker room or meet me in the tunnel, whatever you want to do. And Kyle Lowry like, yeah, I got you, man. What's up then? So Kyle Lowry starts running out, and, I'm pretty sure nothing happened at all. These are guys just talking straight trash. But Ben Simmons is a big old dude. I don't know what Kyle Lowry is thinking. Ben Simmons is like 6'8", 6'9". Kyle Lowry is like barely 6 foot. So I wouldn't try and mess with Ben Simmons. He's young, fast, big, strong. I'm not messing with that. But they got into it, and this is an East and West team, so it's like they'll never see each other again pretty much for the rest of the year. But that was kind of interesting to see that. And then you also had Aaron Aflalo versus the Jellica. I never know how to pronounce his name. For the Timberwolves, Aaron Aflalo for the Magic. Those guys got into it. Basically, the guy from the Timberwolves put Aaron Aflalo in a chokehold or headlock, so not chokehold, but a headlock, and it's very disrespectful. And Aaron Aflalo was like, I'm the little guy, I'm getting headlock. Oh no! So he throws a punch, he gets suspended, he gets ejected, and most likely a suspension will come his way as well. So this just reminds you back in the days in the 90s. Now the world is totally different now. It is totally different. Back in those 90s days, everyone was all tough and grit, and we liked seeing that kind of stuff. Now the world has gotten more softer, it's gotten more sensitive, and you wonder if this is going to hurt the NBA if they continue to do these kind of things. In my opinion, I love it. I love it. Rihanna style. But if, a lot of people don't like this kind of stuff, and I don't see nothing wrong with it. These are just guys in the heat of battle. Unless you know how it is to go on the NBA court or any kind of competitive scenario and compete against someone, it gets heated all the time. Sometimes you got your frustration out. Not everything's going to be a good, clean game. It's not what it is. People will get into it. It just happened those back-to-back days or back-to-back incidents in a row that cause a stir. But I like it. The passion. I want to see passion, because too many guys are. It all started when LeBron and his gang, that 2003 class came in. those guys started the whole buddy friendship. Well, it's kind of weird how these guys are kind of on the way out of the NBA. Not completely, but they're getting up in age. Now it's a new class coming in, and it might start to transition back to that, FU stuff, So I like it. Personally, I love it. And we'll see about it. I hope it continues to trend. Not the fighting, just the chippiness, the competitiveness of everybody else. I want to see that kind of things. So, hey, rocking the Clippers, they play a couple more times this year. I cannot wait. And hopefully we get a playoff series with those guys. That would be awesome. That's must-see TV. I don't know if it will happen, but hopefully we do get some kind of series with these guys as well. On to more NBA news. Kawhi Leonard has been officially ruled out indefinitely. He's looking to miss another couple months, I believe, with his right quadricep injury. Has come back and he has re-aggravated it, and that is a blow to the San Antonio Spurs team. And they've been doing a great job. I mean, a great job without Kawhi Leonard all year. So I like what they are doing. But it's the Spurs organization. That with Popovich and LaMarcus Aldridge over there, they're going to make things happen. But they were expecting Kawhi to come back at full health and finally come in and do some things. He was my early MVP for this year. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So he has to come back full strength next year. But with Kawhi Leonard being out, the Spurs can kiss their championship out if he's not back for the playoffs. They can kiss that goodbye because they just don't have the talent as a Warriors team. Because everything is against the Warriors. Talk about that in just a second. Everything that you put is going to be compared to Golden State. Can you beat Golden State? If you have a healthy Kawhi Leonard, you can beat Golden State. If you do not have a healthy Kawhi Leonard, you cannot beat Golden State. It's as simple as that. That is the way the NBA is running right now. There's one team that everyone's trying to compete against, one team, and that is the Golden State Warriors. And they're having a hard time compete with that if you do not have Kawhi Leonard on your side. It's a tough blow, but the Spurs will always be the Spurs. They're going to win another 50 games. That'll be about 20-something years straight. They won 50 in a row. They're going to get the second or the third seed, as usual. And the way they're going, they might get the second seed if the Houston keeps sliding. So, it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on in this Western Conference. Because, like I said, Minnesota, those guys are looking real good right now. Jimmy Butler and gang. So I'm liking what Minnesota's doing with their squad. They're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to do some damage in there. So I cannot wait for that scenario to pop off as well. And then let's talk about, speaking of the Golden State Warriors, they had a big matchup on Martin Luther King Day. What a wonderful day to celebrate Martin Luther King, and then also have great sporting events as well. So you get the Warriors versus Cavaliers, and this was the Cavaliers, dare should I say it, Super Bowl for the regular season. It was their money game, and they came out hot too. They came out. I'll tell you this: if you're the Cavaliers and you score 37 points in the first quarter on any other team in the NBA, you win that game, most likely guaranteed, pretty much. Against the Warriors, you score 37, but you give up 35. That's the difference between these teams. You score 37, and the other team probably scores 27, 28, 29. You scored 37, the Warriors scored 35. That means you gave out your all in the first quarter, and you wasn't missing nothing. Everything was going smooth for you, but at the same time, you're only up by 2 points. That's kind of demoralizing to a team. The Warriors want to beat the Cavs 118-108, and look, a game that went the Cavaliers' way the whole entire first half. They wound up scoring 64 points in the first half, and you thought they really, really, really want this game. They kind of need this game. But when you go in there, I believe they're only up by 5 at halftime or 6, something like that. That's not confidence. You score that many points, but you're only up by a few at the end. I mean, LeBron was doing this thing. They were passing very well. Everything was going their way, and you're still not up comfortably. You know what I'm saying? LeBron scored 32 points. Isaiah Thomas, 19 points. Kevin Durant led the way for the Golden State Warriors with 32 points, and Steph Curry had 23 points. Look, this is how good the Warriors is. The whole entire game looked good. The Cavaliers had it their way the whole first half. Some of the third quarter, you thought, okay, this is their game. No, they want to still losing by 10 points. That's how good the Golden State Warriors is. This team that LeBron has, that the Cavaliers have, they're not going to compete for a title. They will go to the finals most likely, or go to the Eastern Conference for sure. But once they get to the Warriors or even the Celtics, they might not make it against the Celtics. They're going to get beat down regardless against the Warriors. I predicted that from the jump. they made all these changes, and the Warriors are still the favorites and by far the best looking team as it is. Kevin Durant's looking good. Steph Curry, he's about as healthy as they come now. When Steph Curry is healthy, this team is dynamic. And he looked very healthy in that game. Clay Thompson hitting daggers all day. So this team is hot. This team is ready. It was a great game to watch, but at the end, you knew that the Cavaliers only scored 44 points. After scoring 64 in the first half, they scored 44 in the second half. That is not going to cut it. That's when the Warriors' defense kind of came in and took its role, took its place. And you got to respect the Warriors' defense, not only their offense, but when they start playing defense, Kevin Durant was playing great defense and was dunking. He didn't really dunk on LeBron, but he dunked in the vicinity of LeBron. LeBron had his highlights as well with a block against Kevin Durant. But outside of that, man, there wasn't really too many highlights for the Cavaliers. Their bench play is porous. When you got Kyle Korver with 21 minutes only scoring 3 points, I mean, it's basically wasted 21 minutes, to be honest with you. So outside of Isaiah Thomas and LeBron James, once Kyrie Irving left, now you're starting to feel the effects. Yes, Isaiah Thomas just came back, but he still looked like the Isaiah Thomas of old, to be honest, the way he moved and the way, he got his shot off. So he shot 21 times, only made 8, but I liked that. But his defense, Kyrie at least had some height, some defense. And Isaiah Thomas taking Kyrie Irving's spot, it's not the same. I promise you that. And you see what's going on in Boston, and compared to what's going on in Cleveland. Yes, Cleveland is still going to make their run, but we put them on another pedestal, a higher pedestal than all the teams. So right now it's looking very bad for Cleveland because their only goal is to beat the Warriors, to be honest. Because I think if they get home court advantage, they're going to beat the Celtics. But the goal is to beat the Warriors, and you're not starting off right. I said the only way they beat the Warriors is if they have home court advantage throughout the NBA. Throughout. They have to have games 1 and 2 against the Warriors in Cleveland. If not, they're not going to win this series. They're not at all. And the way it's looking like, they're not even going to compete with that #1 overall seed. It's going to go to the Warriors or to the Celtics. So you just never know. So I'm not liking what Cleveland's mindset is. It's going to be tough for them to beat this Golden State Warriors team. I'll tell you that right now. But Golden State is looking hot. They're looking like the team to beat, and as always. So when it's all said and done, if they're healthy against anybody else, they're going to win the NBA title. So we'll see about that. And for our last news, talk football. Drew Brees and the Saints had that miraculous loss against the Minnesota Vikings, or should I say the Minnesota Vikings had a miraculous win against the New Orleans Saints. Either way you want to put it. So they're out. They didn't want to be out, but now they're out. So big rumors is Drew Brees going to stay? Is Drew Brees going to leave? Well, guess what? You can't spell New Orleans without Drew Brees. Well, you kind of can. But you know what I'm saying? Drew Brees is New Orleans. It's not one guy to his city as big as Drew Brees. Drew Brees is the New Orleans Saints. He's going to come back. He even said himself, I'm going to come back. Let's get the deal done fast. So everyone that was kind of freaking out saying, is Drew Brees going to stay or going to let go to free agency? There's no way the Saints franchise lets Drew Brees go. This year he's playing on a $24 million contract for 1 year. I think he'll get the same kind of money for next year as well, $24 to $25 million. Keep him in New Orleans. You got a young team, got a young franchise. You can grow. You saw what you did this year, and this team didn't even blossom like that. But now you get them next year with a prime. And they're ready to do some damage, and you got great pieces. Well, we'll see. I mean, you're a fluke play away from going to the NFC Championship game and most likely beating the Philadelphia Eagles. So you can build off of that no matter how much the Marcus Williams memes have that they come and go. No matter what goes on, you got to, just be thankful that you got in the situation and be ready for next year. And Drew Brees as your quarterback, he'll be 40 come next year. So, we see Tom Brady doing this thing at 40. Why not Drew Brees? And I like the way that Drew Brees came out and said, I want to be in New Orleans. Sign me up. Let's get the deal done. Because if they don't get it done by March, I believe March 16th, he will become a free agent. But I believe they will have something for him well before March 16th. So, all Drew Brees fans like myself, we're just hoping that they get it done pretty fast. No controversy. We don't want none of that. So, that being said, we'll talk a little baseball next episode, and we'll talk about, some more basketball news is going down, y'all. I appreciate you guys. Please, if you haven't, like and subscribe to Uneducated Networks, where you see my show, Uneducated Sports Talk, and many, many, many other shows. We've been kind of slow for a while, but we're going to pick things up, I promise you guys. And in just a few months, this will be a totally different show. I guarantee it. So stay ready. For those who've been with us from day one, thank you. For those who subscribe to us, thank you for what you've done. I promise we'll make this a whole lot better for you, no lie. So with that being said, like and subscribe to Uneducated Network. Tell your friends, your moms, dads, pops, all of the above, man. Do that. So this is Uneducated Network presenting Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Clayton, and as always, sports fans, you know what time it is. Stay smart, stay uneducated. Peace.